Nobody cares about you. So I see all these people losing their minds in politics. Everybody's got their cult they're in. Even me as a libertarian, I guess that could be considered a cult at this point, especially since there's not a lot of us. Over the weekend, yet another demonstration that the government does not care. No politicians give a flying rat's ass about you. They care about two things: their corporate constituents that fund their campaigns, and their stock portfolio. So, I'm going to tell you a little story as somebody who dabbles in some crypto. So, right as the market was closing, actually, I think it had just closed. It was hinted at just before market close for the traditional stock market. Donald Trump decided to whip out his tweeting again. And this isn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last time, that it was intentionally used to manipulate the markets. Allegedly. It's got to cover my ass. So, while that was going on, somebody had opened up a new wallet in Bitcoin and Ethereum, I believe, and began taking a shorting position. And they continued to take this shorting position up to 1 minute before Donald Trump decided to say that there's going to be an additional 100% tariff on China, and that China was doing export controls and blah, 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 blah. Of course, that didn't bode well for the markets. 1 minute before that tweet, this person closed their short position and waited, or finished getting their position, or whatever you call it. And then crypto took an absolute nosedive. Now, one of the reasons this is, when crypto nosedives like that it's a bad thing for crypto bros, is because the crypto bros haven't learned the lesson of you don't invest money that you don't have. But that's the same with everybody. Everybody's spending money they don't have. Well, it's the same in investing. So a bunch of motherfuckers were using anywhere from 10 to 100x leverage, taking long positions. That means they want Bitcoin to go up in the short term. And a huge cascade of people getting liquidated as Bitcoin dropped. All while this one account that had literally set it up, they knew something, and guess what? Made millions upon millions, life-changing wealth from this one account. All because they knew that tweet was coming. Who it is, we'll never know. There's no way to know who the wallet belongs to. I suppose if somebody were to investigate, oh, wait a minute, the government's shut down. No one's looking. No one's looking. Tweet comes out. And then, as the market was nosedived from this cascade, big downward wick, people were unaliving themselves because their entire bag had been obliterated by this crash. Because it crashed deep. XRP got down to $1.50 at one point. Great buying opportunity if you manage to be on an exchange that didn't glitch during that period. And then Sunday, another tweet. Oh, everything's fine. It was just President whatever Xi had a bad moment. Market rebounds. Guess what? Nukes all the other short positions that started opening with leverage. And then a bunch of people started putting longs in again, leverage longs. They learned nothing. $19 billion evaporated from those liquidated positions. But now it's gone down again. Last I looked. I've been buying, by the way. I'm on the spot market. I don't fuck with leverage. Now, for those of you who don't know what leverage is, imagine you can take $1,000 and lock it up as collateral, and then the exchange gives you $5,000 of an asset, and then you trade that asset, and if it goes up $500, you keep that $500 and you give them back their $1,000 plus fees, and I guess there's a little bit of an interest charge that takes place. But it's basically trading on credit. And the problem with that is too many people are doing it. And that's why we had the big cascade down. And it's also why the person who clearly knew that these tweets were coming made such a huge profit. And if before you say, but it was Trump, see, you get what you voted for. Fuck you. Pelosi's been doing it with the stock market for years. Damn near every fucking politician, allegedly, has been doing this. Making money off your ass. Retiring wealthy from a job that only pays $100 and something thousand a year. Are they all great epic traders? Or maybe they know something that we're not allowed to know. I don't know. The moral of the story is don't trade with leverage. Bitcoin is still a speculative, it's not an asset. We don't know, it can go to zero overnight. All it has to happen is everyone needs to be like, I'm scared. I ain't putting my money in there, and it'll drop. Yes, it could go to the moon because they're only making so much of it. But people have to want it. It's like real estate. If nobody wants to live there, guess what? Gets foreclosed on and becomes an abandoned building with a couple of crackheads in it. But everybody's going to be like, yeah, Bitcoin to the moon. But that being said, I still believe that since BlackRock's involved, that they want to use it to get rich. But in order to do that, they have to buy a lot of it. But that means we're going to see these little games played with the market. And during that huge sell-off, who do you think was buying? Because when you get liquidated and you're in one of those leverage positions, guess what? They just sell your asset. And that's what drives the price way down. And that's when BlackRock comes in, buys some shit, JP Morgan, basically all the people, in the club that none of us are in are buying the asset so that if we want that asset, guess what? We got to go to them. So I was right in there. Hopefully I squeezed off a little bit, but my portfolio is down. All my gains for the last 3 months are currently erased, unrealized. We'll see. Maybe it'll bounce. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's why we got to stop being so political. Stop thinking your vote really, all your vote does is keep a certain side, a different side of the corporate world in power. Rich people, and by the way, Trump's rich. All the Democrats that are talking about being poor, they're all rich. Joe Biden never worked a fucking day in his life. Don't even get me started on all the corrupt fucking money grabbing shit he did. My point is that's all of these fuckers are interested in. They don't care that we're paying $20 for a pound of fucking meat. They don't care that your grocery bills are becoming unaffordable. They don't care if you get laid off from your fucking job because of AI or any other fucking reason. They don't give a shit because stock number go up. That's all they want. And the only thing they need to do is to know ahead of time which way the stock number is going to go to make money. It doesn't even have to go up. It can go down and they make money. And they'll know it goes down. You'll see them sell. You know, they got entire websites dedicated to Pelosi's stock picks. Turns out she's a genius, or at least her husband is. Because, you know, it would look really bad if it was her portfolio. But I'm sure they don't talk or anything. And it's the same thing with Trump. Somebody's trading for Trump. He's not doing it, but he's definitely communicating with someone, because how else would they fucking know that he was going to tweet that? Somebody knows something. And the fact that Trump came in on Sunday and was like, oh, well, see, don't worry too much. We're striking a deal. We're making a deal. Then the market goes right back up. Somebody knows that. Somebody took advantage of that. Somebody made money on the way back up because they had the information before you did. We're the last to know. And I do believe the only way to make it in the market, none of this is financial advice, by the way. Don't do what I do. It's to plan for that. You know? Plan and buy. Do the opposite of what they want you to do. And what they want you to do right now is to sell your Bitcoin. They want you to sell these so that they can take control of them, and then they can sell it back to you at a premium, or package them in some product, some ETF, something that they get fees for. You know, and that's what they want. And then they want us all to be on digital currency, because guess what? Bitcoin, you can tell every transaction forensically from your wallet, from your KYC. You have to send your picture in with most places that your wallet is held. And even if you transfer it to a cold wallet, they know which wallet it went through. So they'll find you. They'll find your money. And that's how they can seize it. The Bitcoin treasury, they just seized a bunch more of Bitcoin. So, yeah, the government and the institutions are coming for crypto. And I hope to make a little bit of money in the process. No guarantee I get it. It's a gamble. It's a speculative asset. But I don't have time to wait around for the S&P 500 to give me the fucking retirement I'm looking for. So whenever I see these massive attempts to shake retail out of the market, that's when I go in. And then when all the retail piles in, oh, Bitcoin's going to $2 million. That's when I'll sell. You know? And that'll be how the only way they're getting their Bitcoin out of me is if I'm making a profit on it. That's my plan anyway. It's probably stupid. I don't have any, because of the volatility and all the stupidity and shenanigans going on, I currently only have one option trade open, and so far it's good to go. It could flip overnight, or some other tweak could come out and fuck me, or some algorithm could be like, oh, I can't have this option clear, you know, and that's what you're up against. You're up against AI is watching that shit and making decisions on whether or not to fuck you over so that they can make more money. Everything's about fucking you over to make more money. That's the world we're in. And there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it. There ain't nobody you can vote for. There ain't nobody you can count on to rescue you. You're going to have to play the game, whether you like it or not. And if you aren't investing right now, in my opinion, you're not playing the game. You're just losing money. You go to work, you earn your paycheck, and then by next week, all the money you earned in that paycheck has less buying power than the week before. And it is getting to where it's week by week. These prices are rising. And we all see it. Yet, government ain't doing a fucking thing about it. Imagine that. Because inflation's the fucking goal. Guess what? When you have $37 trillion in debt, if the buying power of that $37 trillion drops and prices all go up, guess what? You don't have to work as hard to pay back the $37 trillion. So it's great for the government. Inflation makes the government happier than pigs in shit. Why do you think Trump wants everyone to lower interest rates? Because that's printing more money. That's devalue the dollar, and then that 37 trillion doesn't hurt so much, you know? And they also want to go into crypto, and fuck that to do that. So that's one of the reasons I want to get into crypto is I think that's where the wealth is being transferred to by these institutions in government so that it withstands inflation. That's my thoughts, because guess what? The dollar drops another 50%, then guess what Bitcoin and all those assets do? All assets, not just that, gold, real estate, goes up. That's my, chimpanzee theory on it. Now, I'm not a genius. I'm not smarter than Wall Street. I'm not smarter than these people that are fucking us. That's just my bet in the game, because it's all a gamble. Even if you do play the game, the entire game could end. It could be a conflict of some kind that erupts over politics that pretty much shuts the system down. The government's still shut down right now. Can't say I missed them very much. Life's gone pretty well. I've got more freight than I know what to do with. I've got 3 pre-plans stuck on me at the moment. So, but that might be because they got rid of a bunch of drivers who were not here legally and did not receive proper CDL training to keep our roads safe. So now there's not more freight, there's just less drivers, which is good for paychecks. But we'll see how it all pans out, because there is a bill that make it all legal again. Wonder what that's all about. Let's just bring in untrained drivers and give them 80,000-pound vehicles. What could go wrong? Let's ignore safety and just put asses in seats for cheap. Because that's all it's for, is for cheap labor. That's why I say no one gives a fuck about you. The government doesn't care. The corporations don't care. Your boss doesn't care. Your company you work for doesn't care. They only care about number go up and how many numbers I can put in my bank account. That's the number. How much can I print? That's what they care about. So, take care of yourself in this. Know that everything is out to fuck you. And try and figure out how to either lessen the fucking or maybe do some fucking yourself. I don't know. But there's got to be a way to navigate the system, because people do it all the time. And I'm just trying to figure that out for myself. So, hate to be a downer, but I realize a lot of crypto portfolios are hurting right now. But they'll come back. Just, don't look at it. And if you're a trader, this is why it's 80% of traders lose, is because shit like this that happened this weekend. And thankfully, I was not actively trading anything that got affected by this tweet. I had already pulled out of my positions in the S&P and the stock market because I feel like a crash is coming and I'm kind of just waiting for it so I can buy, just more passive than trading. Always be buying, dollar cost average, the traditional Warren Buffett rules. Only when you do it in crypto, you can make a lot more during the crashes and dips. Because I don't want to miss the bus again. I sold at the bottom once in crypto and Bitcoin when it went from 25,000 all the way down to 19 or 18,000 or something like that. And I sold because I thought it was going to zero. As they make you think every time that something like this happens. Turns out that that's what they want you to think. So that you sell at the bottom and they make more money. And they buy it at a cheap price. And then they make you fear missing out all the way up to the top. Then they do it again. And they do it again. It's a 4-year cycle. So. But if you don't play the game, you can't win. If you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win the lottery. That's about what it's getting like to be successful in the markets. And to not get completely screwed by inflation. And that's the other reason you got to play the game. If you don't play the game, your entire income's going to get inflated away. If you don't have hard assets and all you have is debt, well, I guess debt is okay if they weren't charging you the inflation rate in addition to the interest, which is what that 30% is all about. That's the real inflation rate. You ever want to figure out just how high the inflation is? Subtract about 5% from whatever your credit card rate is on your interest. And I guarantee you that's inflation, because they don't want to eat inflation, because you borrow the $1,000 today and then tomorrow $1,000 is worth $400, and then so you give them $400 worth of your time for the $1,000 of shit you bought. That's why you can use the credit card interest rates to judge inflation. I just wanted to put that little public statement out, public service announcement, that nobody gives a fuck. Nobody you're voting for, all the people you're on Facebook virtue signaling about, none of them care. They're all just trying to get rich off each other's ass. Nobody's helping anybody. None of this shit we're fighting and arguing over is going to go anywhere. There's nothing we can do except try and mind our own yard, fix our own life, pay off our own debts, and get our shit together as best we can. Till it all collapses. I still don't think it's collapsing. I think it's working precisely how they want it to. This is exactly what they want. And they're getting it. So we can sit here and whine about it, or we can try and get our piece of the pie. That's my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe for more shit. I'll make more shit. Remember that nothing in this video is financial advice. You're probably going to fucking lose. I love it when they have their DOT number duct taped to the door. Makes me feel safe. That's it for this video. I just wanted to make a video. I realize I've been a little bit of a slacker these past few days because I've been busy working. And I have the opportunity to do some editing tonight, so I'm going to give you a video. But no one's going to fix your life. I'm not going to fix your life. Government, Trump, he ain't fixing your life. Nobody in Congress, J.D. Vance isn't fixing your life. Kamala Harris definitely ain't fixing your life. Gavin Newsom, oh my God, he's fucking your life up, and he's not even in the White House yet. But it's all a shit show. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. All right, back to work.